Silence isn't empty, it's a weight, almost physical, the way it can fill a whole room, press against your chest, wrap icy fingers around your neck. Under the stage lights, after the laughter had faded, it was all that was left. The pitch had ended 5 minutes earlier, yet I was still standing there, staring at the raw concrete of the ceiling above a group of looming men and women in suits. I'd been told to expect questions, but only one came, delivered by a sharp-chinned woman in blue. Was this a joke? I shook my head. No, it's not a joke, I'm serious. I believe New York wants this, needs this. A restaurant that refuses to serve anything that's not sourced within 50 miles, every dish changing every day depending on what's grown or caught that dawn. No compromise, all local, all honest, not just a gimmick, real, everyday food for everyone. A man in a tan blazer snorted, and you say you'll do this on a budget in Brooklyn. You think people will care about carrots that cost triple just because you ride your bike to the farm? There was another round of laughter, not cruel necessarily, just dismissive, amused. The kind of laughter that piles up around your ankles and tries to keep you from moving forward. My hands were sweating, the note cards in my pocket were ruined, ink seeping through my jeans. That's all, I said. Thank you for your time. I tried to nod politely, tried to smile. It probably didn't look like anything at all. Stepping down, my legs shook slightly. I caught my reflection in a polished chrome support beam. Bruised eyes, lips pressed tight, shoulders hunched against blows I should have seen coming. No one shook my hand. No one offered a word. Backstage, I heard murmurs and laughter echoing. My cousin Melissa had been in the crowd. She came up as I was pulling my bag from under a folding chair. You did fine, she said. Her expression was pain, trying to be kind but not able to hide the worry. This was ridiculous. The idea was ridiculous, and I, by extension, was something to be pitied. She wanted me to move back to our hometown in upstate New York and work at her father's liquor store, like I almost had last winter. Maybe you could just run a food truck or something, she tried. Maybe start smaller. I told her I needed air and left through the rear exit. The night was loud, garbage trucks grinding down Atlantic Avenue, the faint reek of hot asphalt and bread from a bakery that never slept. I thought of home, of Sunday dinners around the big pine table, everyone talking at once. I remembered the look my mother gave me when I told her about my plan, equal parts laughter and fear. My sister had called it Brooklyn hipster nonsense. My father, hurt but careful, just reminded me how many times I'd failed already. I had failed. I'd washed out of culinary school, quit 3 restaurant jobs in as many years, drifted through kitchens that smelled of onion peels and broken dreams. What I wanted seemed impossible until I tasted a tomato still warm from the sun, peeled an apple I'd picked myself. I wanted food that was honest and real, and I wanted to serve it to people who had never known that food could taste this way. So I kept going. That night as I biked the 36 blocks to my apartment, silence sat with me, a thick presence in my chest, dangerous and comforting. I let it settle, I let it become resolve. The next morning I woke early and walked to the green market. I shook hands that were dirty and calloused. I bought 1 crate of eggs, 2 pounds of spinach, 3 slim carrots crusted with real earth. I boiled the eggs, wilted the spinach, shaved the carrots so thin I could see the sun through them, and posted a picture with the caption, "Today's breakfast, low carb forever." No one liked it. I did it again every morning for a week. Then someone messaged for a recipe, someone else wanted to order vegetables. I cooked at home. I sold food out of my kitchen. People came, first out of pity, then out of curiosity. The neighbors started dropping off baskets of herbs, wild mint tangled with goldenrod. A woman upstairs grew tomatoes on her fire escape. I picked up shifts at a failing bistro, then another. The chef there, Archero, was ancient, all bones and old grace, eyes shrewder than mine. He taught me to knead bread without measuring, to salt by touch. At night after the kitchen closed, he'd make us both tea from lemon balm he picked in Prospect Park. "Your dream is hard and stupid, but most good dreams are," he said, slicing onions with terrifying speed. "Just cook every day, everything else is noise." I did as he said. The bistro closed, another restaurant opened. Another kitchen hired me part-time. I saved every tip, lived on beans and bruised apples, and worked until my hands split and bled. I tried again for investors. More silence, more smirks, more rejections. But this time the silence held something different, a space I could fill with action, with days and weeks and sweat. The silence asked, "Do you love it enough?" I did. 3 years later, I'd saved enough for a lease. A corner lot on a block that never quite gentrified, storefront wedged between a locksmith's and a dry cleaner that had changed hands 3 times. I paid in quarters, borrowed from friends, signed forms in shaking hands. The opening was humble, a chalkboard sign, paper napkins, 12 battered chairs. I called it Nova after the morning light and the hope that something new, however small, could matter. The food was the same I'd cooked for myself. Fried eggs, thick bread, green soups, plates of roots and shredded greens dressed with oil pressed from walnuts grown upstate. Everything was local, everything changed daily. I put out menus scrawled in pencil. Sometimes I ran out of food, sometimes we ran out of guests, but people came. The right people, tired doormen, immigrant nannies, students who missed home. They came, they tasted, and they came back. Once or twice a month, a food blogger wandered in, lured by the mythology of impossibility, and impossibility slowly became my currency. At Thanksgiving, my mother called, wordless and weepy. My father sent a check for $153, half serious, half ashamed. My sister sent me a box of pears. Even Melissa wrote to say, glad it's working out, but don't forget to visit. I worked every day from before sunrise to well past midnight. My fingers became rough and stained, my knees stiff, my shoulders thickened from mixing dough by hand. I rarely slept. When I did, I dreamed of fields and green markets and hanging garlic braids. One day a sharp-chinned woman in a blue suit came in. I remembered her, the question, the laughter. She was older now, her hair more salt than pepper. She didn't recognize me. She ordered coffee, then eggs on toast. She took the first bite, then closed her eyes. The silence that followed wasn't empty. After breakfast, she approached me. What is this place? She asked. I told her. I didn't say her name, didn't mention the pitch or her laughter. Just explained the dream. She nodded. We need somewhere like this on the Lower East Side, she said, and left her card tucked under her empty plate. A week later, an article appeared online, the restaurant changing how Brooklyn eats. More people came. Lines, wait lists. I expanded, hired staff who loved the land. I gave work to a mother who'd lost everything, to an old friend chasing her own impossible dream. There were failures. The summer a blight killed tomatoes, a winter when nothing sweet would grow. The rent doubled, paperwork doubled again. Some days I wanted nothing more than to run away. Some days I did, hiding in a small park with a bagel and coffee, letting the world turn without me. Through it all, my family watched, half proud, half disbelieving. They didn't visit, though they sent messages. Melissa posted a selfie with the headline from my review. My mother called every Sunday asking if I was eating enough. My father asked when I'd hire him as a dish boy. 3 years spun by like one long, sticky summer afternoon. I didn't notice success at first, unless success was the way the coffee never ran out, or how the regulars left tips in the form of rhubarb or bundles of fresh eggs. I didn't think it was real, and maybe it wasn't, not in the way people on TV talk about. But then, one spring morning, it became impossible for my family not to notice. It was Easter, and for once I had enough staff that I could close for a day and visit home. My mother insisted on a big party, a celebration for your grandparents, she said, though I knew it was for herself too. The church hall was filled with cousins, aunts, friends of friends, faces that had watched me grow and fumble, screw up and scheme. Tables were littered with egg salad sandwiches, ham, jello molds, pies. My father stood by the door, arms folded, wearing his one good suit. Charlotte's here, a voice shouted, and suddenly they were all around me. Hugs, handshakes, the press of mouths against my cheek, too many voices talking at once. I saw Melissa at the punch bowl, lifting her glass in silent toast. We'd barely settled into small talk when a man I didn't know, balding with big teeth, approached my father. You see this? He flashed his phone. That's your daughter's place, right? Says here there's a 6-week wait. The mayor's chef eats there now. My father tried to wave him off, embarrassed and proud, but then someone else chimed in, a cousin who used to call me Chickpea. Is that real, Charlie? He asked. Is it really that special? The room stilled, the kind of silence I knew, but heavier, loaded with expectation. My mother looked up, unshed tears shining in her eyes. I nodded. My throat felt raw. Yeah. I guess it is. The cousin turned his phone to the crowd. There was the headline bold as a sunrise. Brooklyn's Nova is the city's most essential restaurant. Someone laughed, but not the cruel kind this time, or rippled through their voices. That's my cousin, Melissa shouted, her voice carrying over the room. She did it. The silence broke. Everyone surged forward at once, firing questions. When did you know? How did it happen? Do you ever need an accountant? Suddenly my dream, mocked and doubted for so long, wasn't just real to me. It was real in their eyes. Later, as I washed dishes in the kitchen with my mother, she stopped and put her hand on my arm. "We weren't always kind," she said. "We didn't understand." She didn't apologize, she didn't need to. Her voice was thick with pride and pain. "It takes time," I said, rinsing the last plate and stacking it to dry, "to make something new." That night I wandered outside after the crowds left and sat on the back stoop of the church, watching the light fade across the fields. Cicadas hummed, the scent of lilac drifted across the lawn. I remembered every rejection, every "are you joking," every "you'll never make it." They felt distant now, not erased but transformed, part of the foundation I stood on. I missed New York's noise, the whine of trains, the smell of coffee and subway steam. But I missed this too, the hush of the fields, the space to breathe. My sister sat beside me, silent for a while. Finally she asked, "Will you stay or go back?" I laced my fingers together, studied the dark alleys of my memory. My resolve hadn't left, it was still there but lighter now. "I have to go back," I said quietly. "But I'll come home again, there's room now. I think you all might even let me cook." She leaned on my shoulder, and for the first time in years I felt the past settle. It didn't smother. My silence was different, full of promise. Morning would come soon, and I would return to the city, to Nova, to that corner of Brooklyn still half wild, half hopeful. I knew my path, mocked, doubted, impossible, had twisted into something solid. Success wasn't applause or headlines but this, the sharp joy in bringing something to life, the warmth of coming home finally understood. In the growing light I listened as the world woke again, no longer afraid of silence but carrying it with me, a space where anything is possible if you dare to fill it.